Hey kids, how are you? I am so excited to be back with you here in GFC Kids World. I couldn't wait to be back with you guys. Can you believe it's already the last Sunday of January, the first month of the year? I mean, man, it just seems like yesterday we were celebrating New Year's, but here we are, the last week of the month. But man, we have had so much fun in this series about rules for life where we have been learning all about responsibility. Hopefully you remember what that is by now, but just in case, let's throw it up on the screen for you. Responsibility is showing that you can be trusted with what's expected of you. You know, with God's help, we can live in a responsible way each and every day. When we show that we can be trusted with our responsibilities, we can show others what God is like. And it's not only that, if we show people that we can be trusted, then you know what? They're going to want to trust us with a whole lot more. But you know what? Hey, I think we've heard enough about that for right now, all right? But before we go on, listen, I think it's kind of time that we have another round of Mind Meld Bible Edition. Well, okay, that was fun. But you know what? Right now, everybody up on your feet, it is time for us to sing and worship God together.
You never turn away, you never leave my side. And every time I call your name out just to find that you're already right here with me, never been alone. I can trust you with my heart, 'cause this I know. You are always faithful, you love me from the start. No matter what I'm facing, I will trust you with my heart. You are more than able to lead me through the dark. Your love is never failing, I will trust you with my heart. Oh, I will trust you with my heart. There are days when I feel I need a friend, and then I hear your voice reminding me again that you're already right here with me, never been alone. I can trust you with my heart, 'cause this I know. You are always faithful, you love me from the start. No matter what I'm facing, I will trust you with my heart. You are more than able to lead me through the dark. Your love is never failing, I will trust you with my heart. Oh, I will trust you with my heart. No matter what may come, no matter what I go through, God, you are never gonna fail me. I will trust you with my heart. No matter what may come, no matter what I go through, God, you are never gonna fail me. I will trust you with my heart. You are always faithful, you love me from the start. No matter what I'm facing, I will trust you with my heart. You are more than able to lead me through the dark. Your love is never failing, I will trust you with my heart. Oh, I will trust you with my heart. Oh, I will trust you with my heart. Oh, I will trust you with my heart.
Great job singing, kids. You always do a great job. Well, listen, before we go any further, let's spend some time in prayer. Just take a minute to thank God for all of the wonderful, good things that He's done for us, and then we'll sing another song. All right, let's bow our heads and close our eyes. We'll pray together. Lord Jesus, thank you so much for the day. Thank you for this opportunity to be able to engage with our kids here online. And Lord, they can still hear about you, hear your word taught in a way that's on their level so that they can continue to grow in their life, not just physically, but spiritually, connect with you in a deeper way. So God, we're so thankful for the technology that allows us this opportunity. But today we're wrapping up our whole thing about responsibility. And God, we've learned some great rules for life. And you know what? I kind of hope the parents are listening in too, because these rules can even apply to us as adults. And so I pray that today we can wrap this thing up and present it in such a way that the kids will understand it and will want to apply this to their life each and every single day. God, be in this service today. And Lord, be with our pastor, be with our leaders. We are so excited about how things are just moving so fast over at the 325. And we just ask for your continued wisdom in that whole project. God, we love you. We're going to sing one more song, just our way of telling you how much we love you and thank you for how good you are to us. We ask all this in your name. Amen. Hey kids, look, before we sing this last song, I just want to ask you something. I want you in your mind, can you think of at least one thing, just one, and there may be more, but can you at least get one thing in your mind right now that you are really thankful for to God about? One thing good that God has blessed you with? You got it in your mind? Okay, good. Now keep it there and keep that in mind as we sing this last song.
The sun comes up, it's a new day dawning. It's time to sing your song again. Whatever may pass and whatever lies before me,
Great job singing, kids. Well, today we've got one more very important rule for life to share with you. It comes from the book of Ephesians in the Bible, which it was originally a letter written by Paul to the church at Ephesus. Paul's letters, they make up many books of the New Testament. Paul, he was busy traveling from city to city, teaching people about Jesus. He then wrote letters to the different churches to encourage them to keep living in a way that was pleasing to God, living God's way. Well, one day, Paul was thrown into prison for preaching about Jesus. Now, he didn't deserve to be in prison, and it was hard to be away from his friends, but he tried to make the most of a bad situation. Wait a minute, making the most. That almost reminds me of last week's main point, making the most of what's been given to us. Yeah. Well, Paul was trying to make the most of a bad situation. So while he was in prison, Paul wrote to the church in Ephesus to encourage them and to remind them about the things that Jesus had taught. So Paul wanted to remind them about what God had done for them and really how it should change the way they lived. So let's look at one of the things that Paul wrote in his letter. This comes from Ephesians chapter 4, verse 29. Here's what it says. Don't let any evil talk come out of your mouths. Say only what will help to build others up and meet their needs. Then what you say will help those who listen. So when we follow Jesus, one of the things it should change is how we use our words. Now, you see, words, they're powerful. They can build people up or they can break people down. So I realize we did this a couple of weeks ago, but I want to do it again. I want to present to you a few different scenarios and then decide what our response should be. Now look, these scenarios, I think they'll help us see how our words can make an impact, even if we don't always see it. So let's look at our first scenario, and I'm going to give you two options, and you can vote by holding up your fingers as whether it's option 1 or option 2. All right, here we go. Scenario number 1. Your friend is having a pretty tough day, and you tell her either 1, stop crying about it, you're really bothering me, or option 2, hey, I'm here to listen to you anytime you need to talk. Now, which of these two choices do you think is the wise choice to make, the wise response? I agree. It's definitely option 2. If someone says that they are there for me, well, I would be quite encouraged. It would probably make my day feel a whole lot better. But that first answer, it wouldn't be a wise choice. If we were sad and someone told us to just get over it, I mean, that would really hurt my feelings. I mean, it would make me feel even worse. Yeah, but we don't want to make people sad, right? Okay, well, let's move on. Here's our second scenario to look at, okay? Suppose one of your teammates tripped during the game and allowed the other team to score a goal. Well, after the game, you tell that particular player, hey, we lost because of you. You should just quit. Or maybe option 2 here would be to say, look, we all make mistakes. I know you'll do better next time. So which of the two options do you think would be a better encouragement for your teammate there? Option 1 or option 2? Right again, it's option 2. I mean, your teammate already feels bad about giving up the goal, and you can use your words to encourage them and make them feel better. But you can only imagine how your friend would feel if he or she had done their best and then you told them they didn't do a good job. That would really sting, wouldn't it? I mean, ouch. It would make the situation even worse. See, our words have powerful, and those words, well, they can be kind of hurtful. All right, let's look at our third scenario. Maybe your little sister or brother, whichever you may have, but maybe your little sister keeps playing with your stuff, and you're afraid that she might break something. So you tell her, one, I'd love to play you. I would love to play with you, but let's do this. Let's go play a board game together. Or two, you're so annoying. Go away. All right. Which do you think is better? Option one or option two? You better believe it. Option one. I mean, it would make your sister feel great if you spoke kindly to her and then even began to spend some time with her, to play around with her for a little bit. I mean, that's a good option. But man, if someone told me I was annoying, it'd be so sad. So sad. All right, look, here's what I want you to see. Words, yeah, they really do have power, even though we can't always see it. You see, our words can build people up. Our words can also tear people down. But that's not all. We can use words to repair what's wrong. We can use them to help others feel a lot better. You know, imagine if you felt down like the poor kids in these scenarios that we've been using. You know, if someone said those horrible things to you like, oh, you're bothering me, or you should just quit. Oh, you're so annoying, go away. I mean, that would bother us, right? But what if another friend came up to you and said, I don't think you're annoying at all. I'd love to spend time with you. Hey, I'm here if you ever want to talk. Or what if the person who said those awful things to you in the first place came back and said, I'm sorry. I didn't mean what I said. Will you forgive me? I mean, if someone speaks kind words to you, that can help you start to feel better. If someone comes to you and apologizes and they really mean it, that can start to fix the part of you that really hurts. See, their words won't make the original hurt go away, but they're a great step towards getting to the healing that we kind of want for those hurts that we have. So I remember a time when I learned the powerful message of words, kind of how powerful words can be in our own life. It's been a few years ago, but I was just starting a career move, if you will, okay? I was transitioning from being a student pastor for over 20 years to now being a children's pastor. I'd been teaching the kids there at that church for maybe a month, and I just didn't think I was connecting with them at all. I was really questioning if I was cut out for being a kids pastor. Well, the next week, kind of like I always do, I would ask the kids, hey, who remembers what we taught about last week? And we got the usual answers. Jesus, God, yeah. We always teach about Jesus and God. Love others? Yeah, we love others. But finally, there was this one kid there. I had nicknamed him Squirrel because he was always all over the place. And if there was anybody in that room that you didn't think was paying attention, it was Squirrel, because he was just bouncing all over. And so I've been asking who remembers, and we got all the, basic answers. But Squirrel's sitting over there raising his hand, and I said, all right, Squirrel, what did we teach on last week? And what proceeded to come out of his mouth changed me. He said, you taught about Elijah. And he was right. I thought, okay, at first I'm like, all right, lucky guess. He said, you taught about Elijah, and then you were talking about how he, I think it was like all the false prophets, there was several hundred of them, and he challenged them to pray down fire from heaven, and they both made like these altars, and whichever one caught on fire first, they had the real God. And he went on for about 5 minutes telling the whole story. And I'm going to be honest with you, when he got done, I had tears coming down my face. God had used the words of Squirrel to really encourage me. Squirrel was simply answering my question. He didn't realize how powerful his words were, but his words were making a huge impact on my life that day. And it completely, totally encouraged me and even helped me find confirmation in what I was doing and being a kids pastor. So you see, our words, they're powerful. And we remember the things that people say. So let's make sure that we use words that build people up and not tear people down. And if we mess up and say something that we wish we had not said, well, let's be brave enough to use words that make things better. Words like, I'm sorry, I was wrong, or please forgive me. Remember what Paul wrote in his letter here in Ephesians 4:29. Don't let any evil talk come out of your mouths. Say only what will help to build others up and meet their needs. Then what you say will help those who listen. Now, we have a responsibility to choose words that will build others up. And let's use our words to show love so we can build people up and fix broken relationships. So here's our next rule for life. Use your words wisely. I mean, every day, let's make the wise choice to speak words of truth, hope, and healing.
The Bible. It's 66 books of history, stories, letters, and poetry that fit together to form God's one big story. The epic adventure of how He created us and loves us so much that He made a way to rescue us. As we travel through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, we discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. Now, for an amazing story, inspired by the book of Ephesians, chapter 4, verse 29.
There's an old saying you might have heard before.
Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me.
Yeah, on the surface, that makes sense. I mean, you drop a heavy rock on my leg, I might end up with a big cast. But you yell at me, and I don't even get a scratch, right? Well, it's a little more complicated than that, as we're about to discover in a letter from the Apostle Paul to the church in Ephesus.
Let's see. What are the most important things they need to know?
Paul had spent years teaching the church in Ephesus, but now he was in prison. So he wanted to remind the Ephesians what God had done for them and how it should change the way they treated each other, especially when it came to their words.
Don't let any evil talk come out of your mouths. Say only what will help to build others up and meet their needs. Then what you say will help those who listen.
Your words are strong and powerful. They can make an incredible impact on the people around you, whether that's for good or not. Let's imagine what it might look like if we could actually see our words.
You totally rocked it on the field today.
Aw, now those words were like a nice pat on the back. Words can be incredibly encouraging.
Hey, I know you've been feeling kind of sad. I'm always here if you need someone to listen.
That was comforting, just like a cozy blanket and warm cocoa. But we don't always use our wordy superpowers for good.
Wow, did you even look in the mirror this morning?
Ouch. Oh, that burned. Things are getting messy here.
And if you get really angry, well, that's when your words can be real zingers.
You are so mean. I wish you weren't my brother.
Ooh. Thoughtless words can shatter someone, break apart relationships. We all make mistakes with our words sometimes. We all end up hurting others with the things we say. But when that happens, sometimes we get a second chance to use our words wisely.
I'm really sorry. That was an awful thing to say. Can you forgive me?
Just like your words can hurt people and break relationships, words can also be the glue that puts them back together. Your words can actually bring healing. Think about it. Every single one of us has the power to make or break somebody else's day with just a few words. Whether you write it, speak it, type it, or shape it, your words are an incredible tool. You may not have the money to buy somebody an expensive gift, but the note you write or the encouraging thing you say in the hall may mean even more to them. So, think about your words. Each one. Weigh them carefully. Picture actually what they might look like when they come out of your mouth. A knife that cuts deep or an encouraging pat on the back. Remember, Paul believed our words are so important to God that he wrote about it from prison. Don't let any evil talk come out of your mouths. Say only what will help to build others up and meet their needs. Then, what you say will help those who listen.
You know, it's important for us to use our words wisely. We have a responsibility to use words that build others up and help them. So we can also use our words to repair and bring healing to our relationships. That simply means that we need to stop and think before we speak. We need to have the courage to say, we're sorry. We need to own up to our own mistakes. And if someone apologizes to us, then, hey, we need to be willing to forgive them as well. So again, think before we speak. You know, words are like toothpaste. Have you ever squeezed toothpaste out of the tube and then tried to put it back in? Talk about impossible. Well, that's the way our words are. Once they come out, we can't take them back. They're already out. So we got to learn to think before we speak. So again, here's today's rule for life. It's a big one. Use your words wisely. I mean, if you want to know what that looks like, just check out how Jesus talked to people. I mean, Jesus, he used words of hope. He used words of truth. He explained what was true about God in a way that people could understand. He was wise with his words, and he used them to build people up and repair their relationship with God. So we should follow his example. In other words, we need to make the wise choice. We need to use our words wisely. Well, okay, let me ask you this. Have you memorized this month's verse yet? I hope so, but just in case, here it is for you one more time on the screen. It's Luke chapter 16, verse 10. Suppose you can be trusted with something very little, then you can also be trusted with something very large. Well, you know what? This has been a great month learning some rules for life. You know what? I think we should do just a quick recap of these 5 important rules, all right? So the first week we learned rule for life number 1, love God, love others. Rule for life number 2 was share what you have. Rule for life number 3, work hard. And then last week, our rule for life number 4, make the most of what you've been given. And then today, our rule for life number 5, use your words wisely. Well, you know what? I hate to see this Rules for Life series come to an end, but don't worry. Next week, we're kicking off a brand new series that I am super excited about. It's called Super Fan. Yes, we are going to cheer each other along. We're going to be learning all about kindness. Well, kids, look, that's all the time we've got for the day, but I think you know the routine by now. Right hand up in the air.
High five!
100.
Yep, high five. I'll see you next week.